What's up, freaks?
Hey, this is Pete and Rob, and this is another Game of Thrones review.
It sure is.
And this episode is episode 25, Kissed by Fire. So let's go through it, Rob.
Nice.
We start off with an awesome scene with the Hound fighting Beric Dondarrion.
Good fight scene.
Friggin' amazing fight
He
scene.
did the flaming sword.
Yeah, that was awesome. And then he was just flipping it around.
Yeah, beating the shit out of the shields was really cool.
Yeah, like he had the shield on fire and everything. But in the end, the Hound won.
He wins.
And Arya was pretty pissed off about
like
that.
the fucking shoulder blade.
And he kind of killed Beric. And Thoros jumped on him, trying to save him and praying him. And we don't know what's going to happen there. And
everybody else is holding back Arya.
Yeah, because she was going to kill him. And
I like Arya's feistiness.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden Beric gets up again, and he's not dead.
Nope.
It's amazing.
But he was.
Or he was dead, but he's not dead anymore. And then they kind of let the Hound go.
Yeah.
But they take away his money and whatnot.
Yeah.
So then we go to a scene where Jon is talking with Orell and Tormund about the Night's Watch, kind of giving him like information.
Yep.
Like, oh, how many guards are there? How many castles? This, that, and the
This
other.
was just kind of set up more Jon convincing them he's part of them.
Yeah.
Showing that not everybody is going to trust him right off the bat.
Yeah.
You shouldn't.
Yeah, because at this point, a lot of people are thinking that he
still has some weaknesses.
Yeah. You know, he really is.
Yeah. So they're right.
So yeah, they start talking about the Night's Watch, and then Ygritte and Jon
sneak away.
They sneak away, and they
have a little romantic cave dive.
They bang. Yeah, they bang.
Boom!
It's pretty nice to see Ygritte.
This was the nudist episode in a long time.
Yeah, because
there was a lot of butts, a lot of nude teats, a lot of everything.
Oh yeah. There was a ton of butts, definitely.
From Jon strips down naked, and then the scene we see Jon too.
Yeah.
John's, but don't see his tallywhacker.
No, you don't.
Don't see his buns.
But it's a little bit, it's for the boys and the girls there. Not as much for the girls, but
Later on a little bit.
So they kind of bang, and then Ygritte's like, ooh,
Yeah. John might have invented cunnilingus in Westeros.
Yeah, he might have.
Or at least brought it north of the wall.
Yeah, and just kind of funny. And then they kind of like Ygritte's like, I kind of want to be, stay here forever, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Let's not go back.
Making them closer and everything.
Yeah.
Their relationship growing.
It was a nice scene.
It was a really nice scene.
So Locke delivers Jaime and Brienne to Bolton, right?
Who's holding Harrenhal.
Yeah, who is holding Harrenhal. And so Jaime kind of asks him, because he said, like, we'll get you cleaned up and we'll talk.
Yeah.
And so he, Bolton, Jaime's asking Bolton, like, what happened with the battle? And he's like, oh, you didn't hear? And then he talks about Stannis went in there, he raided the whole place. And
kind of
like,
fucking with his head.
Yeah, he's like, your sister, and then he's like, she's alive and well. And he's like, oh, thank God.
Hey, he fucked with his head for a minute.
Yeah. This episode's definitely, I think, the actor who plays Jamie Nikolai Kolju or whatever. He totally deserves an Emmy for this episode, because in the next part, Qyburn, the Maester guy who they found at Harrenhal, he's helping Jaime, fix his stump.
Clean his stump.
Yeah.
He's picking away all the dead bits.
Yeah. And he's like,
he said, we're gonna boil the wine on it.
Yeah. And he's like, we're gonna have to cut off the arm. He's like, I can still kill you with one arm. And grabs him and stuff. And he's screaming and all that. And I was like, man, that's good. So then we go to Cersei. She's talking to Littlefinger about how she thinks Tyrells are trying to get Sansa try to do like some sort of little thing.
She doesn't trust the Tyrells.
No, she doesn't trust anyone.
No, she's kind of if she had like hallucinations, I'd say she's a paranoid schizophrenic.
Oh yeah,
but she's definitely wicked paranoid.
Oh yeah, totally paranoid.
And even if she sees like a tiny slight towards her, she thinks it's a grand conspiracy. It might just be someone doesn't like her.
Yeah.
Or somebody else is trying to get power, because everybody's trying to get power.
Mm-hmm.
But she takes these weird turns, like, as opposed to just somebody trying to gain power, this person's trying to ruin our lives forever and ever.
Mm-hmm.
It's weird. She's
trying to kill the family, which some people are.
Sure.
But not
some people just also want to slice and pie.
Yeah, true. And then we had this great scene where Alina's talking with Tyrion about the cost of the wedding, and she's just kind of like, I just love how she just mocks him. She's like, I thought you were supposed to be smart and whatever, and this, that, and the other. Yeah, and he's like, I'm
very disappointed.
Yeah, she's like, it's a shame that I'm wrong, that they're all wrong. And then he kind of what they agree on, because Tyrion, he's the master coin.
Yeah, he's a new accountant.
Yeah, so he kind of
he gets her to pay for half.
Yeah, he gets her to pay for half the wedding,
which is nice. I guess
because he's
like them a bundle.
Yeah, and then Olenna leaves. She ate a fig, and then he's like, "Give me those figs," and he just eats one. It's funny. And then we go to Gendry back in the Brotherhood. And he's kind of talking with Arya about like he kind of wants to stay with the Brotherhood.
Yeah, he wants to join them
because he's never he's
always worked for people.
Yeah, he's always worked for people.
Not for something.
Yeah, and now he's working for the Brotherhood, like they're like family. And then Arya says a nice line where she's like, "I can be your family," and I was like, "Oh, Arya."
Yeah,
and
so
she's like,
you
can't be my family.
Maybe
you can be my lady.
Yeah,
and I thought that was nice.
It would be.
Yeah,
but I think Arya does hold like a little romantic torch as much as she can.
Yeah, totally. I can see.
She'll never admit it.
No,
because she's that kind of girl. But
yeah, I can totally see that. I see that a lot. But then we go to the Karstarks or River Run, where the Karstarks, those little kids, are sleeping, or not the Lannister kids are sleeping. All right. Mm-hmm. And Rickard Karstark comes in and he kills the hell out of him.
Yeah, he kills the shit out of him.
Yeah, and so Robb has got to deal with this, and Robb kind of looks at him. He's like, "They were boys. You needed 5 guys to go, boys." Yeah. He's like, "That's it. Put him in the dungeons." And then Karstark says something like, "Oh, then you'll just let us go."
Scold me.
Yeah, and he's like, "You're the king of the lost the North." And so Robb's like, "All right, we're condemning these assholes to death." And then what ends up happening is, outside he's doing the whole thing like Ned did with he says
very reminiscent of the first episode where Ned chops off the head of the guy who flees from the wall.
And so he asked Rickard Karstark if he had any last words, and he did, but I don't want to give them away because they're probably my favorite line of the show. But we'll go
back to him.
Yeah, we'll go back to it. But he just kind of curses him. Says you're no king of mine or whatever, and it chops off his head. And then at the end of that, you just Robb's hands are not only shaking, he's just like so angry. Yeah, like he's angry at himself, and he's kind of angry at like the whole cause. I feel
everything.
Yeah, because he's like, man,
the fact that they made him do this, the fact that he's losing the people's faith.
Yeah.
His men's faith and everything.
And he it just you're like, oh man, Robb is. This is the point where he's got to be a true leader if you think about it.
Hard decisions.
Yeah. So then we have Arya, and she's hanging out with Beric, and she finds out with Thoros there that Beric has actually been revived 6 times. Yeah. By Thoros.
He's very interested in that.
Yeah, and he kind of says how like every time he dies, a little piece of him dies. He comes back a little less than what he was before, which is kind of cool, and it's just kind of interesting to hear about how he got killed. Like a bunch of times he got killed by the mountain, and he got stabbed through the heart, stabbed through the neck, hanged by the Lannisters, and then stabbed in the eye. A lot of crazy stuff happened to him, but he's still working at the cause. That's why I think it's pretty cool. Yeah. But he's got his he's got his kind of dark side to him a little bit. Like, and we'll find out about that later. So then we go to Dragonstone, where Stannis is feeling a wee bit down.
Yeah, he's a little depressed.
Yeah, because he's kind of like, man, I lost all my power. We didn't win there. We could have totally won.
He's still bumming about Blackwater.
Yeah, he is a big bum. And so he talks to the one lady that we haven't met yet, his wifey. Yeah. And his wife is Selyse Baratheon, played by Tara Fitzgerald. Yeah. And she's a creep.
She is a creep.
She is pretty much a creep. She's
almost brainwashed by the whole Red God thing.
Yes, she is. Because he's coming in there to kind of confess, like, oh, I totally had sex with Melisandre, and we had a kid.
The abomination thing.
Yeah. And she's like, oh, it's all right.
It's all right. I know. It's okay.
Yeah. Anything the Lord of Light has
totally buying into it.
Yeah. Like, and then she talks about, like, at least she gave you sons.
A son.
And then they pan away to all these fucking, like, not test tubes, like giant
jars with some kind of preserving fluid in it.
Yeah. Fucking
probably pickle. Probably pickle fetuses.
Yeah. And
it was pretty fucked up. Like, you wouldn't find that at the Alabama fair.
Yeah, that's fucked up. And then she had, like, names for all the kids, and it was
just weird. She wanted to name them. Yeah, it was very strange.
And in the end, he just kind of wants to go talk to his daughter. Mm-hmm. And we didn't know. Well, did we know I think we knew they had a daughter.
They don't talk about it a lot, but he never really talked about family a lot.
All he knew is that he did have a wife.
And he didn't have a son.
Yeah, he had no son.
There was that thing Melisandre said to him, like, I can give you a son.
Yeah. So he goes to visit his daughter, who is also locked in confinement. Which kind of sucks. And her name is Shireen Baratheon, played by Carrie Ingram.
Mm-hmm.
Now, with her, sadly, she's got a touch of the grayscale, and that's
it's like
a disease in Westeros where, like, part of your skin, it becomes scaly and gray, and like
it's like the skin dies and then it almost mortifies.
Yeah. And some people can be killed with it, and
especially adults. Yeah, children is usually not lethal.
Yeah, and she actually survived, which is pretty nice.
But she does have a fucked up side of her face.
Yeah, she does. Sad. And I think her character's kind of neat, but we'll get into it more. Anyway, she kind of talks to her dad. She's like, "Oh, Dad, you're back. Where's the Onion Knight?" And he's like,
she's a fan of Davos.
And he's like, "The Onion Knight is a traitor. Don't ever think of them anymore." And then she shows him a boat that he made, that Davos made for him. And so, they had that little conversation, and then Stannis leaves.
I liked them showing Stannis
having a family, kind of being a family man.
And also just not being the normal stoic...
Yeah, stone-faced kind of...
Not driven. He's a little unsure of himself. He's defeated now.
Mm-hmm.
He's not sure he's going to win anymore. And he really thought he was going to win. He had the right side. And technically, he's right. Mm-hmm. His brother was king, and his kids are not his kids. So he, by their laws, really should be the next king.
He should be.
And he had that behind, like, driving him.
Mm-hmm.
And now he's starting to feel like maybe that's not enough.
Yeah.
Like, nobody else is playing this fair game.
Yeah. You know what? I never thought of it that way.
Yeah.
Like, he's the only one trying to...
Even though he has cut corners, the whole Shadow Baby with Melisandre, Shadow Assassin, he's cut corner death. I mean, he killed his own brother with that, for God's sake.
Yeah.
But he's right.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if there was, like, this... If they could have, like, a trial...
Yeah, he would be...
All the proof would come out, he would be correct.
Yes, he would.
And he would have the rightful... He would be on the throne rightfully.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I you know what? I do feel that he's... Because Stannis is one of my favorite characters in the book, and I just feel like, man, he's getting screwed. He's
getting shafted a little bit.
He's got to go the long way around everything.
He does, and he actually seems like somebody who would be a good king. Like,
maybe. Maybe.
Because it almost seems like good guys wouldn't be good kings.
Yeah, he's like stern and fair. You know what I mean?
He's stern but fair. Yeah, like, he's a little douchey.
Yeah.
But you're probably going to keep the peace with a guy like him.
Yeah, true.
Where Robert was this just pretty much a party animal, let his council run everything.
Yeah, and he wasn't very good at it.
That turned out great.
Yeah. So we go into the cells where Davos is being held, and Shireen goes and sees him and kind of talks to him, and she's like, and Davos is kind of telling him to go away, telling him to go away.
Right.
He's basically a condemned man, And she kind of just says, "No, I want to stay here and hang out with you. Let's read this book." And Davos is going to slowly learn how to read from Shireen.
Confesses to her that he
can't read.
Yeah, so Shireen's going to teach him.
Yeah, which is kind of nice.
Yeah.
And then we go to Daenerys, who is marching towards Yunkai, which is another slaver city, sort of like Astapor, but more more gold.
A little more rich.
Yeah, more rich and everything, more prosperous.
Yeah.
Anyway, she's marching towards Yunkai, and Mormont and Selmy are kind of talking about the old times, talking about how they sieged the crack. What was it? The Iron Islands when they were fighting over there.
The rebellion of Balon Greyjoy.
Yeah, and then they were just kind of talking about Dany and how they think if she's a good leader or not, and they're like, we're here to serve this, that, and the other. Because at this point, Mormont is kind of trying to find out. Because at this point, I don't know if the people know, but obviously Mormont's a traitor who kind of traded.
Right, he was
Varys. He was telling Varys all that information. Mormont's trying to get from him whether he was if Selmy was on the small council about that, and knew that he was the assassin guy. Yeah. And so I guess Selmy wasn't on the small council, so he's like, "Whew, all right, good." Yeah. And where are we here?
See, I didn't notice that, Pete. You're right. He was kind of fishing for that.
Yeah. And then,
good job.
And then we go to Dany, who's talking with the head of the Unsullied. Yeah, the head of the Unsullied.
They elect a leader in general.
They elect the leader.
Yeah,
that's right. And he is Grey Worm, played by Jacob Anderson. And he's pretty cool. Grey Worm's a pretty badass guy, and he's the leader of the Unsullied. And she's kind of like, you can cast off your names and take whatever names you want because they get vermin names like Pissant,
Red Beetle, and shit stain essentially.
Yeah, shit stain. and so she's like, you can do whatever name you want. And then Grey Worm's like, this is a lucky name. You know, I was able to be a free man.
I was freed under this name.
Yeah, so I'm going to keep it, which I thought was a nice scene.
Yeah, it was pretty neat.
So then we head back to River Run, where Robb is talking with his mom and his aunt, his uncles and great uncle, I guess. And they're just kind of talking about, you know, the Karstarks left after they killed Karstark, and who the hell is she going to get to help him like win back the North?
Right.
Because he's not going to march further south to King's Landing because right now they're kind of like a stalemate.
Yeah.
And he's kind of losing momentum, so he needs to get momentum back.
To do something else.
Yeah, and he
comes up with the fact that if you can't go south and you don't want to go north, you got to go east or west.
Yeah.
What lies west
is Casterly Rock, home of the Lannisters.
And it's not super well defended because Tywin brought their forces south.
Yeah. So he needs assistance to do this. So he's like, you know what, we're going to get the Freys involved, even though I
try to bring the Freys. He take them over.
He's going to try to bring the Freys
into bring them back into the fold.
Yeah, into the Freys.
Nicely done here.
Yeah.
Wordplay.
Yeah, and so he's like moving his pieces around and doing all that war stuff. Then we had Sansa and Marjorie who are talking about Loras. You know, that Loras is fighting a guy over there, and Loras, he kind of gets seduced by one of them what would you call it? It's not hand, a squire. He gets seduced by a squire, right? Yeah. And they end up having some gay sex.
Nice. See, 2 new butts and a dog.
Yeah, and yeah. And
so a lot of sex is good for the gay guys. They try to do a mix.
Yeah, and he basically subdues the guy, or the guy subdues Loras, and Loras kind of blurts out that he's going to get married eventually.
Yeah.
And then that tells Littlefinger.
That guy ends up being an informant for Littlefinger.
Yeah. So
now Littlefinger kind of knows the secret plot to marry Sansa to Loras.
Yeah. And then we have Littlefinger, and he's talking to Sansa. He kind of goes up to her, and he's like, you know, I'm going to be leaving soon. Are you going to be ready? And then Sansa kind of plays it off like, no, I'm not going to go with you. I don't want to.
Which confirms
confirms his feelings, or her feelings, or whatever. Yeah.
He confirms the plans. Like, all right, she wants to go to Highgarden instead.
Yeah. And so he kind of eventually, I think he does tell. He'll eventually tell. But anyways, I need to go back. I fucked this up.
I thought we were missing a really good scene.
Yeah, we missed a big scene. I fucked this up. Anyways,
you know what? We can talk about the scene at the end.
Yeah.
That's my favorite scene.
Yeah. All right, then we go to Tywin to finish off the episode. We go to Tywin, and he's telling Tyrion, because he has a meeting with him, that you're going to
Now they know their secret plot.
Yeah, now that they know their
plot. Tywin, of course, he's the chess master. He's going to move the pawns. Let them. Yeah, he's not going to let them do this. Because they haven't spoken of it.
Yeah.
So it's not like a real thing yet. It's a secret. It's a plot. So he's going to insert
someone else. Yeah, he's going to insert someone else into Sansa. You know what I mean? And that someone is Tyrion. And he tells Tyrion that he's going to marry Sansa Stark and foil.
Better put a son there.
Yeah, and foil the plans.
Yeah.
And then Cersei's there. And then Cersei's there. Yeah, and then Cersei's there feeling like,
she's really laughing at him.
Yeah, and
she really is.
And then Tywin just turns around and is like, and then you're going to marry Loras. It's like, no, I won't.
Yeah.
Yes, you will.
You fucking will.
Yeah. And so that's kind of how the episode ends. But the most.
And they would get Highgarden.
Yeah, they would have Highgarden.
So Tywin's planning on reaching. He's already got the west.
Yeah.
He'd have the reach with Highgarden, and then he'd have the north with Winterfell.
Yeah, and he would.
Tywin wants.
He would have
a little bit of everything.
A giant chunk of Westeros.
He really would.
But this big scene that I forgot to talk about.
But it's okay, because this was
the main
my favorite
scene.
line. I couldn't pick a favorite line through the video, through the episode. So I'm just going to take Jaime's entire speech in the bath.
Yeah.
So Brienne and Jaime are both in the baths, the hot baths, cleaned up. And
Brienne, kind of like
starts out being prickly towards him.
Yeah, and he's like, yeah, that's the look I, because she's like, she gets mad at him for calling him a wench or something, and he just stands up and you see her ass. You see Jaime's ass walking.
I hit a ball bag too.
Yeah.
I hit a Walder ball bag.
Yeah, and so they sit down, and then Jaime just kind of tells her the story of
why he ends up killing the Mad King,
yeah.
who he's always called Kingslayer for.
Mm-hmm. And the reason is because he
was a fucking psychopath.
Yeah, he was a psychopath. He put little catches of dragon fire.
Wildfire.
Oh yeah, wildfire. Sorry. Put little catches of wildfire all around King's Landing, right? And then when he was losing the rebellion and Tywin came in, he's like, "Oh, I'll help you." And then Pycelle's like, "Okay, have him come in. You can trust the Lannisters." He comes in, and Tywin sacks the city.
Yeah.
So what Aerys says is, "You're gonna kill your father."
Yeah.
And then I'm gonna blow this whole fucking place up.
He's literally gonna burn King's Landing to the ground.
And Jaime just was like, "No, I'm not letting that happen."
Yeah.
And he kills the pyromancer, who was the hand of the king at the time, and then he kills Aerys. And then one of the lines he says is, Aerys is saying how he didn't think he was gonna die, and then he was gonna turn into a dragon.
Yeah.
And burn everyone to the ground. So he slit his throat to make sure that didn't happen, which I thought was a great line. And my favorite line, I'm just going to go to my favorite line, personally, of the show, was him talking, and he said, "By what right does a wolf have to judge the lion?" Because Brienne was talking, "Why didn't you tell someone?" Because Lord Stark came in, like, he was the first one. Yeah, he was the first one in the keep, and Jaime was there, and he's like, "You killed the king?" And he's like, "Yeah, but..." And he's like, and he judged him guilty as soon as he saw him.
Yeah.
So it was like, man, that sucks. But yeah, in the end, Jaime is actually a good guy, sort of. You know.
Well, in that instance, it's
he
like
saved all
you break a promise to save a half million people.
Yeah, everybody. That's totally worth it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But that whole speech would be my favorite line. I couldn't pick one line.
Yeah, I thought that, and that is another reason why this guy should win an Emmy, at least for this episode. Yeah. I mean, there's other scenes later on in the other shows, but yeah.
Well, you get an Emmy for only one episode anyway.
Yeah, so. I know, which kind of sucks. They should take the whole piece, your whole work on the season. You know what I mean? Anyways, so let's talk about favorite characters, Rob. Did you like any of the new ones? None of them were shown off enough to really.
No.
Yes.
I'd say Shireen has promise.
Yeah.
Selyse was nice and creepy.
Yeah, totally.
And I want to see how good Grey Worm fights, and if he becomes like a more important character, like another general. Like
a good leader guy. Yeah. So then you had your best line.
Yeah, that whole speech would be my favorite.
Yeah. Another really good. There's a couple of really good lines. It looks like your gods love me more than your butcher's boy. Was a line from the Hound.
When he
taunts Sansa at the end.
Arya.
And then Richard Karstark's line right before he gets destroyed, he said, "Kill me and be cursed. You're no king of mine." And I thought that was a good line. Because the Karstarks do have some Stark blood running in the veins.
Like an offshoot of the Stark family.
Yeah, and kinslaying apparently is very bad in Westeros there.
So it tends to be everywhere.
Yeah. You usually don't want to kill your family unless even if they're real psychopaths. I mean, you get someone else to do it, I guess. And then,
so was Richard Karstark your favorite? Karstark your favorite death?
I think so, just because the head, boom, chopped off the head. Like you didn't get to see much with the Lannister boys. They're just like, wait, boom, dead. You know what I mean?
I'm gonna pick my favorite death would be Beric Dondarrion.
Yeah, he did die. He did die. Because if you were watching and you're like, holy shit, he's dead. Let's write it down.
He does die.
Dead. Yeah. My favorite death. And then, he's back. He's back. Got it. Scratch it out. But no, he was dead.
He was dead.
He died.
You're right. I'll pick that one.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, because he got sliced right through the shoulder there.
This was the episode I'm going to remember for all the nudity, too.
A lot of nudity.
Jaime, Brienne, Jon Snow, Ygritte, Oliver, and Loras as Tushies.
Yeah. Oh, Oliver was the name of that
Squire.
Guy. Okay.
Yeah. Plus his dong, some boobs from Ygritte.
Yeah.
A lot of nudity, a lot of sex.
You know what? I'm glad. I was going to say there was a lot of sex.
There was Jon and Ygritte going at it, and then there was Loras and Oliver going at it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, good for you guys.
Yeah.
Does this stay true to the book? Like I said before, I don't even know why I'm asking this. Well, if there's any big differences, I'll mention it. But it's pretty much going by. I mean, again, it's a river. It's going down a different way, but it'll get to the end all on the same. Best line, best kill did that. So that's about it, I think, for this episode. Rob, you got anything else you want to add? Maybe
I like molasses cookies.
Yeah, the Oliver guy, he had a butt.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did, and they banged. Because Game of Thrones is not afraid to get gay.
No.
Because it's everywhere.
Even if Tywin is.
Yeah, Tywin, he's definitely
Joffrey was.
Yeah, he's definitely afraid of gays. So this has been Pete, your Country 1913, along with
Rob.
This has been another Game of Thrones review.
Have fun.